Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to yet another exciting week of studying and school. Now, last week we were doing Once in a Village. This week also we will be continuing with this topic. Today, we will be doing text to world connections. We are going to make connections. Now, just as the topic says, text means your textbook or the story, and world means worldly experiences, your day-to-day life experiences or experiences that you have seen or heard somewhere. So today we will be making text to world connections. That means we will find problems from the story, and we will try to find the same problems that are happening today in the world. It could be in our own locality, or it also could be in the world or in our city, right? So that is the meaning of text to world connections. So let's find some problems in the story. Now in the story we have many problems, but I have taken just 3, and let's have a discussion on these 3. So now our first problem is that the number of people in the village was increasing, right? You know that, isn't it? That was one of our key details. The number of people in the village increased, and once this number of people increased, they needed houses and they needed fields. They needed houses to live, they needed fields to grow crops. And so what did they start doing? Yes, you are right, they started cutting down trees. Now when you hear this what should I say, this kind of a scene, or this kind of a scenario, does it ring any bells? Yes, right? 50 years ago, or maybe 10 years ago, you would find that in many areas of Dimapur, the amount of people were very less, isn't it? Many of the places were just forest. But now with the increase, of people coming to Dimapur or living in Dimapur, forests are being cut down and houses are being built in their place, right? Like many of you will notice even in Naga United Village, it's quite a new village, and maybe 30 or 40 years ago, most of those parts were all forest, right? But these days, you see how much development has taken place. There are schools and houses, right, over there, So, I'm just giving you an example of here of Dimapur city, 50 years ago, Dimapur city was not so big. Of course, it was a city, but it was not so big, and it had houses, and it had more of a forest, like areas like Chumukdima and all were all under forest, But these days, you would find that there are so many houses and shops and malls, right? Even crossing Patkai, right? It's like it's just developed so much, So we can make connections, isn't it? You can ask your parents. Those, like if you have lived in Dimapur a long time, you will find that they will tell you, that no, Dimapur, like maybe 50 years ago, was more of forest, but now over the past 30 years, Dimapur has become into a very big city, Even in villages, you can ask your grandparents when you go to your hometown or when you go to the village. Even they will tell you, like, yes, when we were little children, they will tell you that, like, there were very few houses, and the population of the village was also very less. But now, you can see, right? Even they will be able to tell you that now it has maybe tripled, the population has tripled, the villages have become more modern, houses have changed, 50 years ago you would find mostly thatch houses made of leaves, but now you will see mostly RCC houses, in the villages also. So I'm sure you can make connections, with the text and your daily life. Now another scenario we see in the story is that the grass became brown and the ponds dried up and the lotuses died. Now this is a very common thing, right? I'm sure even nearby where you stay, there are ponds, okay, and there is grass. And you will see in the months of November, December, January, and February, when we get very, very less rain, the grass becomes brown, okay, the ponds start drying up. And even if you find ponds, you will find that in the monsoon, when those ponds had so many lotuses, now all of them have died, right? I've even given you a picture over here of a river which has dried up, okay. A very good example is on our way to school, we see the river, right, in Fort Mile, like in the monsoon season, okay, that is your May, June, July, August, September. The water, we feel scared to cross it, right? But if you see in the winter months, it becomes very less, right? The water becomes very less, okay. So this is something which you and me have seen on a daily basis, right? Now, when you have a drought, okay, or when rain does not come in the summer months, you can imagine this, okay. In the summer months, it's really, really hot, right? We all are sweaty, we all are perspiring. And what happens when rain comes? We all feel so good, right? The wind becomes cool. We want to feel those beautiful raindrops on our face, right? Am I right? Yes. No? Most of us, we even run out because we want to experience the rain, the smell of fresh earth, right? So these things, okay, when you have a drought, okay, for many years or even for a few months, even a couple of days, okay, when it becomes very hot in Dimapur and then suddenly it starts raining, everyone is so happy, right? So even in the story, okay, it did not rain for 5 years, and when it started raining, people ran outside and thank God for sending the rain, okay. And imagine, for us it's just a couple of months. Imagine if it was 5 or 6 years, right? If there was no water for 5 and 6 years, definitely, okay, I'm sure like you all would be running out and playing in the rain, right? Even I'm sure even adults like us, okay, would be enjoying the cool rain, okay. So you can see in the picture, okay, we have two children who are enjoying the rain. Now, why should we make text to world connections? Okay, why am I doing this? So I'll tell you the importance, okay. Now, folk tales, as I told you in our last class, they are told to us by our grandparents, okay, through oral tradition. Means our grandparents will tell your parents, then your parents will tell you. So the story will be told through mouth, and it goes on for generations to generations. I'm sure there are so many stories that your parents tell you, okay. So folk tales, actually, how do you think a folk tale was made? It's not that it's just invented, right? Maybe something happened and through that a story was invented, okay. So many a times folk tales tell us about real problems. Like now, if you see in the lesson, cutting down of trees, this is a real problem. The river drying up, it is a real problem, okay. So these are real problems. So folk tales are a very good way to tell us about real problems. Now, when you make connections with your real life, when you can relate them to your real life, then you can understand the story better, okay. And sometimes reading the story is just not enough, okay. So when we give you examples of real life problems which you have already experienced, you can understand everything better, okay. So this is the reason why the author, okay, tells us it is important to make text to world connections, okay. Now, whenever we write examples, for example over here, okay, I've given you an example of the city Dimapur. I've given you, okay, what happens to rivers. You need to give us proof, okay. So how can you give proof? You can give proof by using pictures, okay. Over here I've given you a picture of drought where there is no rain, the land has dried up. Now if you see in the winter months, okay, if you go to the river banks, you will find that the river looks like this because there is no rain and the river has become very, very dry and the land has cracked, okay. So this is a picture of a river which has dried up completely. You can just see a little water over here. Now you can also see this is a picture of deforestation. We cut down trees, okay. We do not think about the importance of trees We will be discussing this also in our next topic. Okay, so trees are very important, and I believe that when you cut down one, imagine it takes 20 to 50 years to grow. We should immediately plant 10 more in their place, but we don't do this, okay? Since we need houses, we need fields, we need malls, we tend to cut down. So you can give a picture, okay? You can have a newspaper article over here. This is an acre a second, okay? So over here, this newspaper is telling us that every second an acre of land is used for some purpose, okay? It could be for building a mall or for building anything, but imagine an acre of land is destroyed, or trees are being cut down, okay, every second, okay? So this is something which we should be ashamed of. It is not a good thing of cutting down so many trees. Now, the Amazon forest, okay, it is one of the largest forests in the world, okay? And they say that just in a decade, that is in 10 years, the Amazon forest has lost 8.4 million soccer fields, football fields, okay? So you know how big a football field is. So imagine 8.4 million soccer fields, okay? They are telling you that much of land which was covered with forest has been cut. So this is again something of concern. Remember, we get our air which we breathe only through our trees, and without trees we will have no air, okay? You can also give before and after examples. So this is the same picture. One is before and one is after. So before, you can see how beautiful it looked. After, it has become half naked, which is very, very sad. This is a picture of India, okay? Before, okay, you can see this place had a lot of rainfall. After, now there is no rainfall. So this is also a matter of concern. Our earth is becoming hotter and hotter, okay? This is a picture of a lake, okay? In 1986, just imagine, see, there was so much water. Look at the lake. And in 2016, the lake has become so small. That means water is drying up, okay? So these are all reasons for concern. So we should take care of our environment, okay? If we do not take care of our environment, in another 50 years, we may not have anything to call our own. Imagine a life which you are going to give for your children, okay? In another 50 years, you will be old. What kind of life are you going to give for your children or your grandchildren? Or what life am I giving for my children's children or my grandchildren, right? So we should take care of our environment in the smallest way which is possible, okay? It is not necessary that you do big things. Remember, even a drop of water makes a difference, okay? Many drops of water would fill a cup. So in the same way, your small little deeds, okay, your small little actions, when you put it all together, it becomes a very, very big action, okay? So we will have a discussion on what we can do on another day. So we will stop here. So remember, you can choose giving pictures, you can give newspaper articles, you can give before and after examples, okay, when we make text to world connections. So I hope you have understood today's topic. In case you have any doubt, feel free to give me a call or to message me. That's all for today. Have a beautiful day ahead. Bye-bye.